Welcome to Thank You for Your Reply, where we dive deep into the strategies and insights of real estate's most innovative professionals. I'm your host, Rich Pedersen, founder of the Reply AI. Each episode, we explore the real practices driving success in today's market. No fluff, no pitches, just real conversations with real experts sharing real results. In this episode, I speak with Abdul Muid, founder and principal of Ivey North, a residential real estate brokerage serving Manhattan and Brooklyn. As with practically every episode, we touch on a common theme. Building relationships is the most important thing in real estate. Before we dive in, please make sure you like and subscribe. Your engagement helps keeping the show running. Without further ado, here we go. Hi, everybody. We're here with another episode of Thank You for Your Reply. Today, I'm joined by Abdul Muid of Ivey North in Brooklyn, New York, a real estate brokerage. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for taking the time today.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Why don't you start off by talking a little bit about your agency?
Yeah. So we're a small firm. We're located in New York, Brooklyn, New York, luxury boutique firm. I launched the company back in 2018, and it's been an amazing ride. We primarily focus on residential real estate. So we represent sellers as well as landlords, buyers and renters, primarily residential. We do some commercial as well, but residential real estate in Brooklyn, some Manhattan as well is our focus, and that's where we transact. And it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And we're making our way in the industry. People are learning and learning more about Ivey North and how we work and who we are. So it's been a lot of fun for me.
Okay. Well, so you talk about the market being, trying to promote your brand and your agency and all that in this market nowadays can be challenging. What's your number one source for high quality leads right now? And how has that changed since 2018?
That's a great question, Rich, because most of my leads come from my existing client base. So my customers and clients, and they're solid leads. What I learned over the years about where your leads come from, it really matters. So when they come from a client or someone I've done business with, those referrals are golden, because you're getting, it's almost like a layup. That client is passing on information to your new lead, whether it's a buyer or renter, and they're sharing the great experience that they had. They want you to have the same experience. So, that referral really comes with, it's vetted, so those are my best leads. Years ago, I would receive leads from multiple sources. So I would get them from clients. I would get them from lead generation sites. I would get them from websites. And what I would say about my leads is that the highest and best leads are always from your clients. Yeah, the people that they're referring you are friends, their family, their colleagues, people they work with. And a lot of them are usually very motivated to either buy or sell. And they're ready to be led. They're ready. They're coming to you as the expert. So you're literally guiding them throughout the process. So I prefer those types of leads. I generally receive about 7 to 10 referrals or potential leads, I would say, per month from different clients. So that's a large portion of my business, my referrals from my existing clients. I value it.
That's been a kind of common thread on my interviews on here so far is organic referrals. And so in the beginning, though, when you first launched, had you been a realtor, an agent before you started your agency? So you had leads, you had referrals already then?
I had referrals already. I had clients already. I got into the real estate business in 2003. I worked at a small firm called Realty on the Green, and I also worked at a company called the Corcoran Group, which is a larger company. So a lot of my business was, it developed at that firm, at the Corcoran. Then I went over to Compass, which is another large firm, spent about 3 years there. And then after that third year, I launched the company, and I basically took my business on my own. Wanted to
take all your referrals with you.
Yeah. I mean, there were times when like I'm sitting in people's living rooms, their dining room tables, and we're talking about the next steps in their lives, buying or selling a piece of property. And I realized that that in those meetings, it's me and the client alone, and that's the big factor right there. It wasn't my companies I was associated with. It was me. I was developing these relationships. I was building them. And those clients would go wherever I went. So I decided, I wanted to serve them better. I wanted to add more value. Plus, I just wanted to, just do it based on my natural intuition now. I felt like I'd gotten enough from the firms, and I was really ready to take my business in the direction that I wanted to take it. Yeah.
The natural progression.
Yeah, I would say, yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you walk us through your most successful marketing strategy that didn't involve paid advertising? Maybe you didn't ever have to do paid advertising.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I have two instances. A few years ago, actually not a few, but over about 10 years ago, I joined this organization called Thuzio. Thuzio it was an organization that basically they would pay or bring in like retired professional athletes, whether they were baseball players, football players, basketball players, some really, really famous and some, not so famous, but they would invite them to different restaurants across the city. And as you being a member, you get to have dinner with them, have dinner over like maybe a book signing or just kind of like a meet and greet. And I said, you know what? I like this concept. I want to do it because I like it. I love sports. I'm into like athletes and hearing people's stories. I said, I'm going to join this organization. Not only am I going to join it, but I'm also going to invite my clients here. And so I would invite them to dinners as we listen to Joe Montana or Steve Young or like Anthony Mason, like former professional basketball players, talk about how they made it to where they got it, to their profession. And so, when I would bring the clients there, we didn't talk about real estate. We just talked about what was going on in our lives. We established, or we further established, the connections we already had. And so I can remember a year after joining that organization, two of my biggest sales occurred. I would say 6 months to a year, two of my biggest sales at that time occurred. And I would say like as a result of like solidifying my relationship with some of the clients that I invited there. And so I paid for membership to that organization where I got the opportunity to do something that I love, but also do it with clients. And so as a result of that, it was like, okay, I'm ready to sell my house, or I need help with something. I'm going to bring business to Abdul.
Yeah.
And so that was a direct impact of not digital advertising, but just paying for to be a part of an organization that I wanted to be a part of. Doing something that I wanted to do, but also just including my clients and, the rewards from it more than paid for, the membership. So, and then I also joined another organization. This one's with the Brooklyn Nets. They, I think like in their inaugural season, their first season, I signed on for like 4 years of season tickets. And throughout that time, same thing. I would invite clients. And so we're, watching the basketball game, and then we'll break and go eat. So just having, just doing things that I love, but also bringing clients into the fold. That's been my greatest return on my investment, like those two organizations.
Are they still around? I mean, obviously the
Thuzio was, it was started by Tiki Barber. He was a former player of the New York Giants. So he sold that. I think they were bought out back in 2021, 2022. Somebody bought them out, him and his partner. And the Brooklyn Nets, yeah, they're still around. They're a professional basketball team. So I don't have a membership I'm not a season ticket holder right now, but at some point I will rejoin. But like joining an organization, joining something that you love or that like you can get excited about, but also thinking, okay, who can I invite here where I can connect or I can, just have dinner, break bread,
build your network.
build your network. So I would say that was really key for me, and it still is. And I would suggest that to anybody that's looking to, solidify their business or just kind of like, but doing it in a way that they're receiving something from it, like you want that, and then you're inviting your clientele, your business people to that organization.
So it doesn't feel like a chore.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Like then sort of becoming part of the community, like building grassroots connection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
What is sort of changing tack a little bit? What's one common belief about real estate success that you've found to be completely wrong over the years since 2003?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good one. And that's easy. Most people think, or a lot of people that come into the business, they think it's easy. They think it's an easy business to do really well at. Selling real estate and growing my career, and like even to this day, it's sometimes it's the hardest thing I've ever committed to in my life. It can be like, because for me, it's like, I'm always thinking, how can I be better? How can I improve on the way I do business? And so how can I be, I'm just asking myself these questions to be the best at, what it is that I'm doing. And so it's not an easy career. People make it look easy, but it really takes focus. It takes a clear mind, and it takes discipline, because you have to grow your business. You have to let people know that you're qualified, you're knowledgeable, and sometimes that takes time. In the beginning, you don't have the experience, so people want to work with people that they know have the experience, or that they know what they're doing. That takes time to gain people's trust. So oftentimes people come into the industry because they think that it's an open house, it's posting on social media, it's photographing the property. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more than that. There's a human element. There's the intuition. There's like knowing things instinctively. It's learning who people are, learning how you can be of service to your clients in the highest and best way. And it's like all the time. You always want to be of service and, to always give your best. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. It's not just, I think the common misconception, when you hire an agent to sell your house, and you're paying a chunk of money for it, so you want something out of it. So it's a common misconception just from the customer side. Like all they do is put up a listing and host some open houses.
Yeah.
What am I getting out of that? It's way more. So I think probably you find that people coming into the industry to be a realtor think they start out with that mentality, like, oh yeah, all I got to do is write a listing or hire a photographer.
Really, it's all, I think, people come in now with the notion or the belief is that like real estate or success, everything you do is media driven, social media driven. Like if you can perfect that, then you have success. That's just one of the key elements to building a brand, to being successful, to being a great real estate agent, or real estate broker. So it's a lot more than just social media. There's, how professional are you? Like how much do you know your market? Like, are you aware of recent sales? Like, what's the driving factor? Like, what are the things that are driving the market right now? What are the concerns for buyers? What are the concerns for sellers? Really understanding who people are so you can add value, you can help make their decision that much easier, So,
And then
yeah,
also be able to like better predict what they're going to need if you understand
right.
what's happening in the
If you
market.
understand exactly, right.
And
Yeah.
given, people are asking for advice too, obviously, on like, what should I list this for? How should we market it? Like I'm right now in the process of trying to sell my house in Oregon. The realtor that I'm probably going to work with, she asked me, she gave me two sale prices. One of them, I forget what she called, the frenzy price. It was a lower price to move faster, or the fair market price. I was like, oh, interesting
Yeah.
way to go about it.
Yeah. And so that helped you that's probably helping you make a decision as to where you want to price when you come to it, Yeah.
Okay. So taking a little different, getting more into how you go about your daily work. How do you structure your typical work day to maximize productivity while also maintaining a work-life balance?
That's a great question. And I love it because for me, I'm all about discipline. So if I have a heavy work day, heavy workload, I'm usually up earlier. So I'll start my day between 4:30 and 5 in the morning. Like, for instance, I was hired to author a book called Renting for Dummies. Renting for Dummies. And so I wrote the book in basically the first half of 2024. And so I had a routine. I would get up anywhere from 4:30 to 5 in the morning, and I would write for an hour to two. And then after that, I would get ready for work. I would get my kids up, get them ready for school. And then all the important stuff would be done and be in those first 2 hours, whether it's writing, whether it's working out, whether it's, getting ahead of that work day. I usually try to do it the first 2 hours, anywhere from like 4:30 to like 6:30 or 5 to 7. Get that 2 hours in. And then all the other things that aren't as important, I do that on the back half of the day. So the most important work is done early in the morning. The work that's either getting me closer to my goals, it's helping me make money. It's like all of the important things are done early. Drafting emails, getting ready for a meeting, getting ready for an interview, whatever it is, it's like that first 2 hours. Yeah. So I remember writing the book was a really good time because I had a routine. The routine was just I just got so much done and I was just so productive to where 12 o'clock in the afternoon, my day was kind of free, or my mind was free, to where I didn't have to think about, the daily work. Then I can start thinking about, okay, how can I do this? How can I do that? So yeah, it's really just getting the most important things done in the early part of the day. If it's working out like health, that's important to me. I usually work out in the morning, meditation in the morning.
Like all your non-negotiables, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. It's something I try to do. I'm really bad about getting to bed early enough. I don't know what time you go to bed to be able to get up at 4:30, but it's the times when I successfully get up before the kids and have an hour or so to work on stuff, I can be productive and then feel good the rest of the day, and not feel like, oh, I got to get to that thing.
Right.
All this other stuff is in my way.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's a hard routine to get into.
No, you make it work. I mean, for me, I look at the height, at the top of whatever industry you're in. If you can manage to make millions of dollars in this and in a 365 day in a year time frame, we all have the same hours, the same time, how can somebody be so productive to where they're making 20 to 50 to $70 million in one calendar year? Right? And then it's so I'm my time has to be very important. I have to devote my time to health. I've got to devote it to having a clear mind. So I've got to have quiet time. I've got to have sleep time. So time is really important. It's time can work for all of us. I mean, sometimes it can be your enemy if you're not respecting time. If you're not giving it to the right channels, it's rewarding me, So yeah, I take that seriously. My morning. Yeah, it's really important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, I like it when, I don't like when the alarm goes off, but when I get myself out of bed and get going with whatever it is, then it feels good. And having that peace where it's
Right.
just
Right.
me. Okay. Uh, what's been your most effective strategy in standing out in a crowded market, especially now with like how much more difficult it is to buy and sell?
Yeah. So I think for my entire career, I've always believed in what I'm doing, and myself and like my path. So if you look at now, like real estate, like everybody does social media, and that's great. I think, and for me, I do less of social media now because everybody's doing it. And I want to be intentionally like mysterious. Like for me, I don't want everybody to know everything that I'm doing. I don't want everybody to know how I work. Like there's certain things that I just want to keep private or in-house. And so I feel like I stand out because there are just things that I'm just not doing that people expect because everybody else is doing it. And so I feel like, me being a little bit mysterious or just like, hey, I'm not posting every day. I feel like people want to know more about you when you're not an open book. So I feel like, by doing that, I stand out a bit because if everybody's doing the same thing, who's truly standing out?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
So I've always marched to the beat of my own drum in my own kind of way. And I value that now. I stand out because I'm always like trying to be myself. I want people to accept me for who I am. And, I'm not trying to be another person or another broker. I'm being Abdul. And every day I'm being that. And so, and I feel like that's my advantage. It's just because we're all individuals. And I lean into that. I lean into the person that I am. I show up as like, I always give my best when I show up, and I'm going to give you like my authentic self. Like I want you to win, my sellers, the people that hire me, I want them to win and I root for them,
That's
So I think
your brand. That's your brand.
That's my brand. Yeah, that's my brand. And so, my best work is done. I feel like it's done one-on-one when I'm interacting with people.
Can you share a major mistake you made earlier in your career and what you learned from it?
That's a great question because every time somebody asks me that, I know right away. So early on in my career, I decided to, because the firm I was with, they wanted most of the agents to be sales agents. They don't want you to do sales and rentals, or, like they push you to do sales. And so I started telling my clients that I would rent their properties for. It's like, you know what? I'm not doing rentals anymore. I'm only focused on sales. And I told them that because I wanted them to refer me business to where I could sell. And so it hurt me for a minute because those clients stopped reaching out to me. They were like, Abdul, I have an apartment coming up, or I have my building I want to rent out, but you don't do rentals anymore. Like I would see them in the neighborhood and they would say, yeah, I just leased out my top 2 floors and I gave it to another broker. And that happened multiple times. People would tell me. And I was like, okay, that's a mistake because that's business. And then that's relationship. You're nurturing that and you're continuing to grow it. Mm-hmm. So I corrected that. I went back to those clients. I said, no, yeah, I was wrong. I send me your rentals also. Mm-hmm. I can do those rentals. So I learned that. It was like one of the biggest mistakes I made because, I could have lost. Fortunately, I didn't lose those people as clients, but I lost the rental business.
That particular avenue.
Yeah. Yeah. But I built it back up.
Because you're doing that now with this agency with Ivey North, right?
No, that was
No, you're doing rentals now again with Ivey
yes,
North. Right?
absolutely. Absolutely. I started doing it also. I started picking it back up at the other firms as well. So ever since I made that mistake, told people I didn't do rentals, I stopped that. I told people that for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And so I stopped that. Yeah. So I'm like, send me your rental business as well as your sales business like that. I do that. Yeah.
So you talked earlier, we're talking about how you get your business and all that stuff and it largely down to building relationships. And so I think my next question you kind of already answered, but maybe you have some other insights on it about building and maintaining relationships with past clients to ensure that they bring you more, send you more business. Is there anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, just staying in touch with your clients, like picking up the phone, and reaching out to them and checking in. I think that my clients have become my friends. So now it's like a text. I'm a text away or a call away. So it's really just like making sure that you're maintaining that. You're maintaining a friendship as well. So it's like, hey, let's meet for dinner. Let's meet for breakfast over coffee. Let's get a glass of wine. But just making sure that I'm reaching out to them. I think that's the most important part for me is like I organically stay in touch with people. So
Even
it's
if
not
you're not working with them at that time.
right. Even if I'm not working with them, like we're always meeting, we're always talking about getting together or just, we stay connected. You stay connected. So, I would say that's important. It's very important.
Do you run in, with particularly in a town like Brooklyn and New York in general, like, do you run into people a lot that are your clients or were just day to day sort of?
Yeah. So not as much now, but when I first started, like, yeah, like because one of the things that I would do was I would always walk the blocks. Like my office was in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And so I would, it would be nothing for me to just like leave the office and just start walking up and down the blocks, go to the park, and I would run into so many people. Oftentimes, like I would be giving market updates as we're walking from one corner, like one block to the next. So, um, yeah, I forgot the question, but
Just that I was just wondering if you with the town knit town like that, where you're a lot of people together. I just imagine that maybe you would be just running into just
yeah, I mean,
your past clients, and that would bring you to their front of their mind. And
yeah, well, that was a part of when I was really building my foundation of business. I was always out and about. I was always running into people. Yeah, those types of things. And I think over the years, as technology advanced, if we're texting more, you see social media updates. So I run into them less, but we have more intentional meetings. Like, hey,
yeah.
let's get together and do lunch or brunch, dinner. I have like one client where we're always like we call each other foodies because now our thing is like we just go out, we try new restaurants. And I can remember first meeting him um and just seeing the relationship develop organically over the years where he knows what I like he'll send me restaurants.
Oh yeah.
You'll like this. He'll send me like he's always keeping me abreast of like new openings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Abdul will like this place.
exactly.
Okay. Sort of on the topic of technology changing things, the way how we interact. What's a tool or system that you use that you couldn't live without, and why?
Yeah, so ChatGPT.
Okay.
It's like so yeah, I can't live without it. It's just it helps me with a lot. It helps me like draft emails. It's just so much that it helps me with.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm thinking about this. What are your thoughts? It helps me with time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll screenshot a report that I want to create for a new client that I'm meeting, it formats it in a way that like used to take me. So the work that used to take me to put together a package, a pitch deck to meet a new client, I would say maybe it used to take 2 hours. Now I screenshot what I want. I type in little things here and I screenshot it to a ChatGPT and it formulates it exactly how I want to say it. The price per square, like it formats everything to the point where I just email it to me, I print it, and then I create the package. So ChatGPT is like, it's awesome. It helps me write emails, everything, my tone of emails. Like I can't live without it. Like I would never use it.
Have you seen the ads for Sintra? It's like they're making them all. It's a GPT, but they're all little figures in a little astronaut suit, and they all have different names.
I didn't see that. What's it called?
It's Sintra, Sintra.
Okay.
That's what I started using it last year in November. There was like a Black Friday sale, like 65% off the subscription lifetime. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that makes it really cheap.
Yeah.
And you can buy them. You can subscribe. There's like 10 or so little different characters that do different things.
Yeah.
Like social media manager, personal development, copywriter, email marketer. But
wow. Yeah.
And you can subscribe to them individually, or you can do all of them, the whole package. The cool thing is it learns your style and it learns your business.
Yeah.
Every interaction you have. And I think, a lot of them obviously do that, but it kind of makes it interesting because they're become like little, not your friends, but you kind of treat them like, oh, because that's the copywriter's, his name is Penn. I'll be like, hey, Penn, can you write this?
Yeah.
And it's been really cool kind of to play with, and it generates some pretty cool, pretty spot on work.
Yeah.
My number one rule is always thank. Whenever I use AI, I thank it, and I say thank you. And
yeah, me too. I do that too. And so does that matter?
I don't know. I heard I was listening to an interview with one of these thinkers about AI technology. It's not one of the scientists. I forgot his name. He was saying about how he always is polite to the AI that he uses, because just in case in the future, if AI takes over, then it'll remember that he was nice to them.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good policy,
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And you're practicing just manners too. So
right. Yeah, no, I'm always telling it I appreciate it. And so yeah, I do those things.
Yeah, it's funny if you have an Alexa and you tell it, thank you, or you have a really good day or something, that it always tells you like, oh, that really, that makes me feel really good, or I really get to get I don't know. You got to keep it light.
Yep. Yeah.
How do you handle difficult market conditions when you talk to clients? Like right now, the interest rate is still on the high side and not really lowering much, and like inventory issues. How do you approach that?
Well, for people that are considering selling, because there's two ways you can handle it. Like, so I work primarily with people that are looking to sell or rent a piece of real estate. So for my sellers, I really try to tell them, like, if you're looking to get the highest and best money for your property right now, like if getting the most for it right now is like what you want, this market isn't necessarily the best market to do that, because rates are slightly higher. The overall consensus in the market is that people feel that like the market is in the buyer's favor. And so when you have higher rates, when you have a buyer's market, if you're looking for the top dollar, this isn't the best market. So I just try to inform people, find out, what do you want to accomplish? Do you absolutely need to sell? If you don't need to sell, then let's wait. Rents are high. We can wait for a year or two. That's advice that I actually gave to a client on Friday. To him and his wife, they've owned an asset. They've owned this property for about 30 years, and it's producing it's producing a nice cash flow with the rentals in the house building. And so for the last 2 years, we've had these conversations about, hey, do we sell now or wait? This year I told him, it's like, because if you don't really need to sell right now and you're getting good income, then you can ride this market out and wait for it to turn, because it will turn. It will become a seller's market again. And so that's been the conversation I've had with them. But if you absolutely need to sell, and like maybe your job is relocated, or you just have life, your life has changed, then pricing your house where the most activity is, not overpricing it, but pricing it where the market wants to see it, is the highest and best thing that you can do in this market. So as a seller's agent, I call it a pricing market, meaning your property, the agents that align or get their sellers to price their properties accordingly, you're having success. If you're pricing it right on the button, you're getting offers within, I would say, 14 to 45 days. Maybe you're even accepting an offer within that. But if you're missing the mark, you've got to reduce. Then you've got to get new interest. Maybe they don't like it at that price. Maybe you have to reduce again. And so when you reduce in this market, that brings concern to the buyers.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with it?
Or how long has it been sitting on the market?
How long has it been sitting on the market? Yeah. So in tough markets, I just focus on delivering the proper information to the clients, because the better informed they are, they can make better decisions. So I give them a breakdown of, okay, this is where the market is in pricing. You've done a great renovation to your home within the last 5 years. Everything is brand new. You can price closer to the top of the market. Why? Because your house is in turnkey condition, and the buyers that, are looking for turnkey properties, they appreciate it, and they will pay a premium for it. Versus buying a property where you buy it and then you rent it, you have to renovate everything that's there.
Do a bunch of work on it.
Yeah. So
then you're factoring that into the sale price,
to the sale price. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really just, how you do well in this market is really just informing the clients, staying on top of the information, like where are the rates, who's active in this market, who's buying in this market, and where are the comps, like where are the most recent sales.
Yeah.
So really understanding where the recent sales are, understanding the condition of the property, and also this overall sentiment of the buyers, what their expectations are. And then most importantly as well, like, why is the seller selling? Are you motivated? Because a motivated seller in this market is the kind of seller that you want to work with.
Our last question here. What is one skill you think most real estate professionals overlook, but is crucial for long-term success?
Yeah, that's another great question. You've done your homework. You've got great questions.
Thank you.
I really like them. So the one skill that I think people overlook is the people aspect of the business. Like, you can show up with like an amazing suit on and just look great and have the information right there, and it works, and everything is digestible, and everything you're saying is correct. But if you're not connecting with people sometimes on a personal level, or you're just not hearing them, that's like, you won't get that business. You really have to learn how, I think for me, like learning how to connect with people by listening to how I can add value to their lives. Like, that's really key. Like, when I truly learned that part of the business, my business really took off, because I learned to relax. I learned to show up as a person, be a person, you're gonna be spending the next 90 to maybe 180 days with this person, like
Yeah.
working with them. From the start of the transaction to the end, like you'll be in touch with them. So you want to connect with them. You want to learn who they are, and you want to learn that as quickly as possible. So the human element of selling real estate, I think sometimes people overlook that. It's like, how's my social media page? Like all the things that like you see that people are drawn to, but then it's like, you've got to, you close people based on who you are and how well you connect with them. Are you a listener? Are you asking the right questions to your clients? So I think that's important.
Yeah, to make them feel like you're, like you said earlier, you're rooting for them, you're fighting for them.
Yeah.
You want them to succeed.
Yeah. Are you putting them first? Like, are you servicing them? And people, they want that. Like in this business, like people want to know that you're going to bat for them and that you're going to represent their interests in the highest and best way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Abdul.
Absolutely.
Do you have any big deals going right now, or like that you're working on?
Yeah. So we have right now about 3 new listings that are set to come to market, 2 townhouses and a condo that I'm excited about. I want to make sure, before like I put all the information out there, I just want to make sure all my paperwork is signed.
Yes.
So like it's all sent out and it's like, yes. And so like one's come back, the other's on its way, and the other one we're just waiting to hit the market. But I'm looking forward to spring. I'm looking forward to this year. I think this year you're going to see a turn. I think that I'm starting to feel the market picking up, and maybe because we're heading into spring. Mm-hmm. But I'm just feeling that, in spite of all that's going on, I think it's going to be a good market. Yeah,
that's a good hopeful note to end on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Abdul. I wish you success, and thank you so much for spending time this morning to talk to us and share your.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and take care.
That wraps up the second episode of Thank You for Your Reply. A big thank you to Abdul Muid for sharing your valuable insights with our community. To our listeners, you can find show notes and links below this video. Or if you're on audio, they'll be in the show description. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe so you'll be able to catch the new episodes when they drop. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system.